Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to tonight's group stage match in our Highway to the Threemus Zone tournament. Coming out of the Bahamut group are our two runners, who tonight run the gamut from A to Z. We've got Aegis versus Zilch. The Threemus Zone tournament is going on for about a week and a half right now, but this will be both our runners' first scheduled match in this initial three-match group phase. Helping us out behind the scenes tonight on restream duties and hopefully giving us a seed full of vanilla goodness is Dathis. Alcel's in charge of lighting up the lights on the tracker tonight. And with me tonight in the booth is Pixel Tamer. How have you enjoyed the tournament so far, Pixel?
It's been pretty good. I wish my win rate was a little better, but it's been a lot of fun. How's it been treating you?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I've had a lot of fun watching the tournament. I have not had quite so much fun playing in it, but that's neither here or there tonight because it's all about our two runners and these objectives that we are looking at right now. And goodness me, if this doesn't have the capability of being a jet seed.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally one key item to go mode. All they need is a magma key and a way to the moon.
That's right. Again, for this tournament, we only have to complete 3 of these 4 objectives before we get that crystal and get to fight the final boss, Threemus. As you just said, as soon as we get to the underground, we could complete the seed. And we're going to start off tonight with Iridia, and we'll see who else we get with that. That's going to be a Dark Knight Cecil. And a blue robe giving us a spoon. This has the potential to be an interesting item if we do find an early Edward. Also, since we do have, as we said, very quick objectives, finding an early Edward could lead us to doing Edward strats versus Threemus.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what decisions our racers make with this Cecil. We have the vanilla agility flag turned on in this event, which means if you've got a Cecil, he is anchoring you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I know lots of people follow the 0 or 2 Cecil rule of thumb, where you don't want to keep just one Cecil around. And it also depends on how strong of an item we can find for Cecil to swing around. We get a crystal sword, makes a lot more sense than just trying to carry a light sword through the game. We see both our runners.
We already see some divergence.
Yes, we have Zilch going down to Mysidia to look at the 2 free characters there, while Aegis is going to the back of the Watery Cave to do a little bit of looting. Unfortunately, not finding too much back there right now. This is a sort of incentivized location because you have. It's not really a location you normally go to in the normal swing of things, so we do put some very interesting items potentially here. It has a higher chance of finding good items compared to other places in the overworld.
Yeah, and there were dancing daggers in the Mysidian weapon shop, which could be useful, especially now that we have 2 Iridias for getting some early game damage out there.
And a Kane. It is all early game characters at this point.
And Aegis finds a power shirt, which is absolutely great if we get an Edward to go with that spoon. He'll be putting out a lot of damage.
That's one of the more premier physical damage dealing armors out there, so absolutely. And it does seem like Aegis is taking a very long walk through the Watery Pass here. I know if you don't have early access to the exit spell, you're going to have to take the walk back. And I know lots of people don't like to do that, but if you find good items back here, it probably makes it worth it. Zilch just making a very interesting play here, going into the Evelyn Castle very early on.
Yeah, that's risky with all those trap chests. We find second Cecil.
Zilch finds a Strength Ring, another very nice early item to power up a melee character, as long as a black shirt and a lunar staff. There's some very quality gear available here. We'll see if that's enough for Zilch, or if he wants to continue going on before he probably will have to reset out of the fight if he finds one.
Oh yeah, there's no way a party of level 1 Iridias and base level Kane and Cecil can handle the encounters here in Evelyn Castle yet.
Aegis is taking his walk out. Didn't find an exit item or find a Tella, so he's going to have to take that long walk back. While Zilch is going in from the front to get his second Cecil.
Yeah, I like Cecil in this. It's not as much of a free you take him always in these flags as more traditional flag sets, but you get a Holy Sword, he does work, even if you do have to put a little bit of effort in to make sure his agility ends up at 28.
Absolutely. Zilch actually opting to leave the Cecil behind. Let's be honest, there really isn't a compelling reason to bring along a second Dark Knight Cecil. He doesn't put out too much damage before becoming a Paladin. So maybe just keeping him there for potential anchor purposes in the later game.
Yeah, late game anchor and just the flexibility of being able to pick him up later and not having to worry about getting rid of him forever because we have the buy flag turned on.
Yeah, so once you get a character, it's either take him now or forever hold your peace.
Dempsey and Armory looking a little thin. Somebody's been here before us and took all the good stuff, I guess.
Right. In case you haven't seen this flag set before, 60% of the treasure chests are filled, 40% are already empty, which can make some very interesting adjustments to your strategy when you go to a location you normally loot, only to find it pretty much empty. There's a light sword on Zilch's side. That's about the best sword that you're going to find for Cecil in a standard chest.
And the Quake Kit over in Damsian.
Oh, that's also very nice. If you can get that few more levels in Palom, get that Quake online, he could carry you through that mid game.
Yeah, and with 2 Ridias in the Palom, you could definitely go with a Black Mage focused party and just reflect your way to win.
The only issue I could see with doing that, of course, is that given the objectives on the board, we might not have enough time to build up the characters to get to those late level spells. We might have to try to find another way around it in order to get through this pretty quickly.
Yeah, indeed. There's so many trade-offs in this game, especially when we have such a Jetty flag set. Or, Jetty objectives, I should say.
It always has the potential to be a Jetty flag set, this flag set. There was a Zeus gauntlet Aegis found in the back of Mount Hobbs, showing that these deep dives that he's doing against all this equipment is really paying off.
And over in Antlion Cave, we see that Bahamut is guarding our first key item check.
The namesake of their group in the Threemus Zone tournament seems to be making an early appearance here.
And slightly interesting that Kane is throwing the dancing daggers rather than attacking with them.
I think when you're dealing with a base level Kane, this is something I have never tried out before, but I think he will do slightly more damage using the dancing daggers as an item rather than either throwing them or attacking with them normally or jumping with them.
I can believe that. I haven't run the numbers myself.
Anyway, he does get through that Bahamut fight pretty quickly. We do have a Rose on Aegis' side. I'm sure they're happy to see the premier white mage available. Sorry, Porum fans, that had to be out there.
And we've got an adamant, so Antlion Cave has some value.
Yes, that's one objective done on Zilch's side already, and that's halfway to a second one. So that is continuing the threat of a jet.
And Odin goes down, and Aegis has secured his white mage.
And with that first battle, is always nice to see on these very low-level mages. You get a lot of spells after your first boss fight. Zilch also checking Bridia's summon here in the front of Hobbs, finding that it's just mage. I don't think they're going to be using that too much.
Yeah, the one good advantage of Porum over Rosa that we didn't go over is her earlier access to exit, and I think she learns Berserk at a level or 2 earlier than Rosa as well.
Yeah, I believe that's accurate as well. Those early spells she gets a fair few levels before Rosa does, and of course exit Rosa only gets it after completing the Tower of Zot. Zilch taking a peek up there, finding out it's Rosa, and yeah, not surprisingly, is going to be more than happy to take her along.
And chat debating what the mage summon actually does. Their guess is as good as mine.
I know it's something that the boss bit usually protects against. I do think it is paralyzation or something to that effect. It's something that very, very rarely comes up. I'm sure there are.
Aegis setting the back row glitch on their casters.
Yes, by giving your party members a weapon that attacks from the back row and then taking away from them, they still maintain that back row attacking flag. That never gets turned off. So it's a nice thing to do, especially for the melee characters who use bows or uses the dwarf axe, because that way they can get the protection of the back row while still doing full damage.
Yeah, back row Cecil can absorb a lot of damage and keep your party safe through some really nasty spots.
Aegis seems to be through looting up the Antline Cave, and they're going to go on and take on Bahamut, while Zilch goes into Fabul, going to do a little shopping first, and then we'll probably be defending the castle. Not too much of value in the weapon store there. I think I saw a longsword, one of the cheaper but decent options for edge if we do find an edge.
Yeah, I was distracted by the large flightless bird being sent over at the King of Summons. And looks like Yang has betrayed the Kingdom of Fabul and has decided he wants to take over.
It's a homecoming of sorts, but I don't think he's going to be finding a very, very welcoming party here.
Though in Yang's favor here, he is protected from the one-hit knockout that Paladin Cecil can dish out.
That's true, but with only a few thousand hit points here and those dancing daggers doing a decent amount of damage, this should still not pose much difficulty for Zilch, as Aegis finishes off their Bahamut fight with very little difficulty. Aegis is going to do a quick check here at the Waterfall Cave, hoping to find a cheeky little D-mist hiding somewhere to give them an extra key item.
That's right. As is common in Free Enterprise, we have the no free key items flag turned on, which means instead of getting a free key item from Edward and Troya, we get one from Rydia's mother after defeating the Mist Dragon.
That was a blue robe behind the waterfall, which would have either been the Gauntlet, the Alt Gauntlet, or Water Hag. And the thing is, we also saw the other blue robe that's in the game. That was at Baron Castle in the Vigan spot. So we know that we won't have any sort of nasty Gauntlet spots later on in the game.
Yeah, and chat pointing out that because that was a single blue robe at the waterfall, we know that it is, in fact, the alternate Gauntlet at Baron Castle.
That is well spotted by chat. That is one of those locations that if there are multiple bosses in the boss fight, they'll pop up there. So that's a good point. Pixel Tamer hitting up Silvera to do a little more shopping finds. Find those
I am not in this
curfews.
race, unfortunately, so I'm not really doing much shopping.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Zilch is doing that. I was looking at your name in the middle. My apologies.
No problem. But we did see Aegis say goodbye to one of those Cecils in favor of a Kane.
I guess he's not too worried about. They're not worried about keeping one as an anchor then. So, looking around right now, I think we've seen of all the locations that are on the overworld, the last place to go is Ordeals, and we have not found a way underground yet. So I'm guessing that's either going to be your hook or your magma key, or it's going to be another overworld check like a Baron key. Unless again, it's the wonderful D-Mist at Tower of Zot first boss is going to be happening. That's always the dream.
I think it could be really interesting if we had demist here on Ordeals, and then between demist and the Ordeal spot, we got both the Twin Harp and the Earth Crystal, and forced our runners to choose which of the undesirable checks they want to make.
That would be an interesting choice to make there. Would even be more interested if you got, say, the Twin Harp and the Hook. Do you commit to the Hook route, or do you do the Twin Harp in the hope of finding the Magma Key?
I would at least check out the shop in Eblin Cave, because there's usually loot in there.
Yes, that cave and the S standard flag, which is what we're running here, I think it's guaranteed to have 2 tier 5 items, which could be sirens, hourglasses, Bacchus wines, very nice items to find.
Oh, hey, there's a demist.
Oh, excellent. So that's where he's been hiding all this time, and that's a great load off our runners' minds, I'm sure, because they'll have to try to search them later.
And our runners are literally side by side doing the same encounter at this time.
Those was taking advantage of that vampire item that he purchased or he found. I know he found them for purchase. I purchased a couple because they do a very good amount of damage for this point in the game. Meanwhile, Aegis found Sylph and is using that as a very good source of damage and healing.
Yeah, Sylph is amazing in the early game. As long as Rydia has the MP to cast it once, she can just keep casting it as long as we have the Sylph glitch enabled.
And the vampires and dancing daggers send Zilch through the first fight. And with the damage being put up by Aegis, I have to imagine that they'll be right behind him. Zilch remembering to put his party in reverse order because of this backpack spot. We find the dolls.
We have not found hourglasses yet, have we? So this is not quite free. But with that firebomb, it's going to do a lot of damage, and could at the very least force a quick phase transition.
So yes, unfortunately, we do seem. I think we are a little weak on AoE attacks. Otherwise, yeah, he gets the Braina dolls taken care of. That's going to hope for this Grimoire to show up as Shiva, and I think that might be enough to take care of the rest. Oh yes, no problems there.
That is enough.
That's a smart usage of that Grimoire. Got a little bit lucky there, obviously, because it could be any summon in the game. I believe it's any summon in the game. I've not looked at the odds there.
Yeah, definitely something our higher tier runners are good at is remembering to use their consumables. I'm really bad about that.
I always run into the bad habit, like I do in most RPGs, of saying, "Oh, this is too nice an item. I can't use it yet," and then never wind up using it.
Oh, and we've got a package.
Well, I think that means that our progression has to be at demist one way or the other.
That is correct, because... Wait, have we done Baron Inn yet?
We haven't, but we don't have the key for it. Oh, I'm sorry, we do have Baron Inn, not Baron Castle. I'm sorry. Yes, that's another possibility. I don't think either of our runners have even looked at Baron Inn, so they don't know who the character is yet.
I think that's right. I think they both flew away from Baron first thing. But meanwhile, we've got a nope rope over on Zilch's screen. This spot isn't too bad. Low hit points, and you get a full heal before and after the fight, so you can probably just power overwhelming your way through this.
It's only about 1,000 hit points, and yeah, that extra vampire on Zilch's side takes care of business. Now, we'll be interested to see if either of our runners want to take a look at that package. I don't know how they're feeling about their parties right now. If they want to continue on this path of mages, or they're maybe looking for an edge or something else to give them some more physical damage. But if they want to, that's another character that they can check.
Mm-hmm. And I think both of our runners right now are running with double cane and no Cecils. But Zilch has the advantage of still having Waterfall Cecil lying around, in case we find a good Holy Sword or want to just anchor with a level 1 Paladin at the end of the game.
After fighting Ogopogo and getting that big wave, which takes half their HP off, I'm sure they're very happy to get a free heal right after fighting this fight.
Yeah, and the Blaze counterattack from Ogopogo does something like 20% of your hit points, so as long as you're healing for more than that, Sylph is overall a net win.
Zilch going straight to Mist to turn in the demist key items, see what he gets, as well as do a little bit more shopping here in these oft forgotten equipment shops.
Yeah, and shopping has turned out to be really important in these flag sets because you just don't necessarily have the density of loot checks you would have in the seeds we're all more used to.
And that is Progression Underground. That is Hook.
I think you still check Baron in after this before you make that commitment because it's fast and you could find a good character there and it's a key item.
Yes, that's I would agree with that, especially because I don't think you have the levels really on this party specifically in order to take on Hook Route at this point. I think you would want to grind up a little bit more, maybe do some of the Evelyn chests, try to get a good spell on your Palom.
Yeah. Depending on what you find in the Upper Babel, you could get away with a virus using Palom, but Quake just makes everything better. And while Zilch is checking out Kaipo, finding a Yang in bed, looks like Aegis is getting ready to check out the Baron Inn and find some Star Veils in the shops.
Always happy to find those. Get a couple extra of those because usually we'll run out of your initial starting Star Veil that you get from your opening kit.
Meanwhile, Zilch finds Ether 2s and Kamikazes in the Kaipo item shop.
Definitely useful, especially if you want to do some sort of grind later on in the game to have those Ether 2s. We have Eddie just talking with Leviathan at the inn.
The no thank you rope as opposed to the nope rope.
This is slightly annoying because it will take a quarter your HP off even before you can get in that 400 or so hit points you need. But with Sylph over here, you can heal it up really quickly.
Yeah, and that package check looked like another Palom, so we could totally load up on Black Mages.
And we've got a Lunar Sparkle here, and that's a Wyvern. If we have the timing on this, which we usually do because this is a very slow spot, we'll get a Star Veil up and won't have a single problem.
And it looks like Gridia survives, and not enough to take out that Wyvern, but if you can keep lifing people faster than Wyvern can start reflecting nukes back onto your party, this is pretty doable.
One thing you can do here, especially since you do have Iridia, is that when you use a summon against Wyvern, it will immediately do a counter Mega Nuke. So that's one way to bait more reflected spells back onto him.
Zilch looting the Mist Cave, another incentivized location, but I don't think anything too spicy has popped up yet.
It doesn't look like it. I think just the Drain Sword there was the item to find. And yes, Aegis is going to be using that Sylph, and they're going to be getting a Mega Nuke counter, and there we have it.
And that's an Earth Crystal. That is a whole bunch of opportunities for powerful loot there.
That is the key to the Troya Treasury, and that is one of the best item locations in the game in terms of strong items to find.
Yeah, and Aegis nopes away Edward. We've got a power shirt, we've got a spoon. I probably would have given him at least a try.
Edward would put out a lot of damage to that situation, but would also be a bit brittle. So
I mean,
it definitely
Eddie is incredibly fragile.
It definitely
since we know we're looking at a Hook Seed, could have been the right play to stick with a more durable character.
Right. I was just about to say that Aegis was going to go check the mist item, but parks and goes to Hypo instead and do a little more shopping. I hope they remember that they killed the mist, since I know, at least for me, when you kill them as part of a series of bosses, early on, you can sometimes forget that, oh yeah, I have to go back to Mist to pick up the item. Oh, he already checked? Oh, that's good. Meanwhile, Zilch brought his hovercraft down just as far as Baron, because I want to do the Baron in first.
Yeah, selling that lightsaber, so probably committing to Cecil as anchor, if anything.
There's a couple ways you can go with that, obviously. If you find a cursed ring or some other agility dropping gear, he makes a very good anchor to get the RA1 in that situation. Otherwise, you can level him up to about level 45, where it becomes agility 28 and makes RA2 in terms of the Zeromus fight.
Yeah, and if you find a Dwarf Axe, you can afford to overlevel him a little bit thanks to the -5 that item gives you.
Very true. Aegis also opting to hit Troya and going to go check the treasury here. Let's see if there's anything worthwhile down here. I know a game we like to play here is Rate That Treasury. So let's see what we find.
Well, it's not the treasury. That siren is a nice find.
A couple of rune rings, another sylph. Even the stuff that's not in the incentivized treasury is half decent.
Yeah, rune rings are perfectly viable endgame gear for your casters. I mean, they're not diamond rings or protect rings, but they're still perfectly serviceable.
They'll give just a little bit extra power to both white and dark magic. Ribbon of Murasame, Stardust Rod, another Murasame, Moonveil, a couple spears, Ninja Shard. That's some pretty quality stuff.
Yeah, nothing that makes you stop and go, that's the best thing ever, but definitely some solid loot over around.
If you find an edge, we got some nice equipment for him. I mean, otherwise, you got some very solid, nothing game breaking, but some very solid items there.
Yeah, you've got.
Especially since you do have two canes there, one with the Dragoon Sphere, one with that other spear that you found. There's Gungnir Spear. That's some good stuff there.
And Edge would be perfectly set if we find him. The agility bonus from that Ninja Shirt offsetting the penalties that come from the Murasame swords.
Zilch is through with his Baron infights, gets the Earth Crystal.
Does Zilch take Ed, though?
He is going for it. Dropping Iridia.
Alright, then we can see some major party divergence at this point, and we'll see just how good Edward turns out to be on this seed.
I do wonder if Zilch is also thinking that, oh, as soon as I get underground, I can complete the game. If I find an early pass or an early Darkest Crystal, I can do Edward strats to defeat Zeromus.
Definitely very possible. Zilch is definitely good at those unorthodox strategies.
I know he posted a tutorial that I watched on his stream of him doing low-level reflex strats with Vampire, so he definitely knows his things.
Like 1,200 hit points to survive the Big Bangs.
Aegis is shopping through Troya now.
Found a few self-summons, so don't really need to buy one.
And so, looking at this party right now, do you feel how comfortable do you feel doing the hook route if you were running?
I think that depends entirely on what's in the Evelyn Cave shop. if I find an hourglass or two, I'm feeling very confident because I can just slingshot that Edward and get him dealing a pile of damage.
Well, it looks
likewise, those hourglasses would get Palom up to the point where he can reliably cast Quake.
Well, it looks like Zilch is going to take a quick dive into the cave. Remember to save, or no, he's just going to go right in. While Aegis is going to go up Tower's Out instead and get a few levels that way.
Yeah, and Zot's another 2 characters in the key item. Just takes a bit with the cutscenes.
And there's your hourglasses and coffins in the Evelyn shop.
So definitely some very good grinding opportunities available thanks to what we've just discovered here.
Now he's selling the farm here to make sure he can get enough of those good items.
Yeah, Zoe likes this Zot play over in chat.
There's always the chance that this is Magma Key, as Daz points out, this could be vanilla. And that would save Aegis a lot of time over Zilch, just being able to drop down the well and go down to the underground very easily.
But Dathus's handle on Discord is vanilla or jet. Are we allowed to have vanilla and jet?
I don't see why not.
And we've got Asura as the first boss of Zot. Not too bad. You can either life lock her if you've got good timing, or you can just bounce some star bales around to make her heal you instead of herself.
Speaking of vanilla, we've got a potential vanilla situation on Zilch's side with Rubicante as the second boss of the hook route. That could be Rubicante, or that could just be the Elements boss, so we'll find out later if that is truly vanilla.
And we've got even more black magic happening on Zilch's screen with... Is that our third Palom now?
I've lost count. But at any rate, no interest on Zilch's side to take on that Palom.
Just think, in another universe, we could have a party full of small children wielding very destructive magic.
That sounds like a JRPG to me. Aegis using the star veils in order to get the wall up on Asura so that she will reflect her spells back onto their party.
And that makes that fight basically free. The physical attacks at this spot are not too bad. I mean, the Mega Sisters do use physical attacks, but their primary source of damage is their reflected spells, so this should be pretty straightforward.
Meanwhile, Zilch continues through the hook route into the tower. And is going to be looting, trying to find that Mad Ogre chest.
Yeah, if you can life glitch all of those ogres, that's an easy 16,000, 17,000 XP.
That should help get your mages up to snuff to take on the rest of this hook seed.
As well as slingshotting that nice level 5 Edward that Zilch is rocking.
Correct. There's an Odin summon on Zilch's side. Even with Rydia's, it's one of those summons that I just don't really like to use because again, it's so specific when you can use it.
It's very specific and it has middling accuracy. Like, sure, it's a group cast of Fatal, but it's also not very accurate. You really need the middle spot accuracy bonus in order to make it anywhere resembling reliable. And Evil Wall is the second boss of Dwarf Castle.
And we have another Vanilla Cane available. And another Rydia.
this is Black Mage % the seed.
Are we sure we're not running one of those flag sets where you can only have 5 or 6 distinct characters? That's what it feels like right now. And yes, Zilch has found the Mad Ogre's fight and is life glitching as many as he can to get as much experience as he can. And I believe that's an Artemis arrows doing some really nice damage alongside some other good giant killing gear.
And the way the life glitch goes, in case there's anybody unfamiliar in the chat, is basically the way the life spell works is it uses the vitality stat of the target in order to determine how many hit points are restored. And all monsters in this game have a vitality of stat of 0. So when they are revived with 0 hit points, they immediately fall over again. You get XP and loot as if you defeated them for a second time.
Two things happened for Zilch. First, his Palom got up to Virus, not Quake. That might be enough to get through this. But secondly, he also picked up an Excalibur from that fight. Well, he's not carrying any of the Cecils anymore. He still has one left over waiting in the waterway if he so desires.
And Excalibur is definitely a reason to consider him at the very least, even if you don't take him and level him up all the way.
He would have been very good here with the Dark Elf available as the first fight here on the hook route.
Yeah, this fight's not too bad as long as you can survive the initial onslaught. Dark Elf, when it transforms, does lose the boss bit, and we do have a second hourglass available in Zilch's inventory.
Yes, I think he'll transform at around 2,000 hit points in this location. So as long as you can get past the quickness of this spot, that gives you a lot of more options to defeat it.
Meanwhile, Aegis gets through the Baigan at the top of the Tower of Zot.
This will also give Aegis' Rosa their exit spell, which Zilch will not have access to at this point.
Oh, there's a White Spear. That's going to make the hook significantly easier thanks to this Dark Elf we know about.
True, since the Dark Elf is weak to Holy, that would help out a great deal.
Eddie was in Baron in LSL.
And Zilch is through that Dark Elf fight and is running back to save for taking on this Rubicante / Elements fight. Aegis appears to be ready to go down the hook group themselves.
And we have Vanilla Leg.
It's Vanilla Leg. The best flavor of Leg.
See how painful this glare is. That's almost survivable.
It's painful enough. I mean, that's given their HP levels, that's still quite enough damage. This is not as fast a spot as the first boss, but it's still pretty fast and has a lot of hit points.
Yeah, and any use of the fight command will trigger the Fire 2 counterattack. I believe jump is safe.
Yeah, any non-standard way of doing damage, whether it be spells or aim or jump, won't trigger that counter.
And speaking of jump, that was a very nice 5,000 damage jump from that top cane. He must be equipped with the Blizzard Spear.
I know they found a Blizzard Spear, or as well as an Ice Brand in their travels earlier, so if they kept that around, this fight would be a lot easier. One minor thing to point out here is that Rubicante does have a trigger that if he goes under 1,000 hit points, he will say a little piece of dialogue and then disappear. So this spot has a little less hit points than usual in that because of that.
Yeah, and it's something you sometimes see in Free Enterprise, but it's not very common because we usually try to overpower Rubicante as much as we can.
Aegis is taking the stalemate fight. I think Zilch skipped that one on his way through the hook route. It is a T item. It is a decent item in the chest there, and it's a little more extra hit point or experience points. So if you're worried about the situation, let's go play get some points.
Going down at the same time.
Down, yes. That Blizzard Spear doing a lot of work. And we do have Quake Kid online.
So here's the next question. Quake Kid doesn't have Warp yet. Do you still go to Dwarf Castle because of the objective?
I think I would do the Tower of Babel here, since that is the objective first as well. And see if that gives me enough levels. On Aegis' side, in that Stillman chest, they found an Avenger, which with carrying those canes is a great item to have.
Yeah, thanks to the way the Avenger works, you could effectively have double your white spears going against Threemus.
And Zilch is launching the Falcon down into the underground through the hook route in about a little over 40 minutes. That is a very good time.
Yeah, and question from chat about how many objectives do you need for the crystal. In this tournament, you need to complete 3 of the 4 objectives in order to get the crystal. Forging the Legend Sword into the Excalibur is always available as an objective, and then the other 3 are random determined when we roll the seed. And Zilch looks to be on his way to validate the seed for us. And we've got a medical appliance technician for Temp Job Dwarf today. We had an interesting discussion last night about, does Bacchus always have to be wine? What if it's an energy drink? Or like Kool-Aid or something? I mean, you might have berserker children, and you don't want to get them drunk. You want to get them hyped up on sugar, perhaps.
Well, given Square and Nintendo's opinion on more adult subjects during this time period when they were making their RPGs, I do feel that probably wasn't wine anyway.
I like the juice box suggestion from Zoe in chat. Oh, and there's some sirens in Dwarf Castle, so egg grind is totally on the table.
There's also, we got the hourglasses we found earlier, so we can go to the moon and get some good experience on maybe the Kangaroo fights. There are definitely a good number of options available to our runners right now.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing we're missing before we can wrap this up is a way to the moon.
I mean, the good news is, of course, that all the checks on the moon with all the bosses there won't lead us anywhere. So we know the moon is going to be haunted.
That's true. It's possible the Legend Sword is up there, but I don't think anybody's going to take the time to look for it.
If they do either Dwarf Castle or the Tower of Babel, and they find it first, and that's probably the only way that they're going to be forging that.
Yeah, and Zilch does his shopping in Dwarf Castle, and looks like he's off to grind. Probably gonna get warp on his Palom and then go ahead and do the Dwarf Castle fights.
That is a very good option. Again, that is 2 key item checks right there for the price of 1, as well as making the fights a little bit easier. And it looks like it's going to take a little more than just the one egg cracking in order to get up to warp level.
Aegis gets through the Mad Ogre chest, and looks like we're not quite at Quake levels yet.
Does pick up Excalibur again. I don't believe that they have a Cecil lying around like Zilch does. Then again, I don't know if they're going to want to use that anyway.
Yeah, that's correct. Aegis took both Cecils early and then discarded both Cecils early.
Zilch is done with his grind, his little mini grind there. He has Warp now and is ready to take on Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, we've got an unknown boss at the first spot, Evil Wall at the second spot, and a character and 2 key items that we can potentially get.
And the first boss appears to be just a few guards.
Yeah, it could be the Baron Inn guards, it could be the soldiers from Kaipo. Either way, potentially a very free fight.
Meanwhile, Aegis is putting that Sylph Summon to good use on the Dark Elf, keeping their party up. And yeah, we've got the very easy fight here on the side of Zilch.
Yeah, 1 Quake and this is over.
Aegis has triggered that change of form from the Dark Elf, and yeah, that White Sword, 1 jump is good enough. And here comes that Quake out of Zilch, and that is going to take care of the soldiers, and with the soldiers down, the officer, if he lives that long, is going to run away.
Yeah. So if you're Zilch, is there a character you're hoping for right now? The check we're about to get here.
Honestly, the only thing I would really look forward to would be an edge, since I do have those nice ninja swords I got from the treasury. Otherwise, I'm fairly happy with my party.
Yeah, I think I'm in pretty much the same spot.
I certainly do not want a 4th Rydia.
Yeah, I think that is Rydia number 4.
And this evil wall with, I think, only about 6,000 hit points. This should be a very quick fight as well. And down it goes, and we'll see what 2 key items Zilch gets out of this required Dwarf Castle.
I'm hoping for a Magma Key and a, I don't know, Sand Ruby, just to troll the runners a little bit, because they've had a pretty easy time so far.
That's a nice hand right there, like the dark hand. I don't think I've seen that one recently from the evil wall.
Yeah, that is new to me as well, I think.
Aegis itself is... I'm sorry, continue.
Key item the first is the Baron Key.
Well, that's potential for where our moon access is. And a white shirt, not a key item, but a very nice item for Rosa.
Yeah, frees up one of those sorcerer's robes that we've seen in the sea to go onto Palom.
So normally in a seed like this, we're thinking, do we want to do Keyless Tower? Do we want to do something else? But given the fact that defeat the boss Lord Babel is one of our objectives, in fact, our third and final objective, that makes this a pretty straightforward play.
Yeah, we do top of tower. We hope for either like the pan if we don't get moon access, and then we probably go check the Feymarch after this.
If we do get moon access in the next check or two, it will be an interesting question to ask our runners. Do we want to grind up our levels, or do we want to do some sort of eddy strats or other low-level strats?
And if you grind, do you grind now, or do you look for your 10th key item and then grind?
Well, right now we have, I think, 6 key items by my check.
Yeah, it looks like 6, so...
Count a 7th for the crystal. If we get a key item here, we're getting close to the point where it might tip over, especially because we have a couple free checks left in terms of Shield 1.
I guess it depends if your moon access is from the Darkness Crystal or the Pass, since the Pass does not count as a key item for that purpose.
Question in chat. We did find sirens for sale earlier. I believe they were in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, Dwarf Castle had sirens, and Evelyn Cave had Bacchus and hourglasses. Sorry, coffins and hourglasses, my mistake.
Can Edward use the spoon as weapon these seeds? Yes, they can. In this group stage, flag set, the spoon flag is on. I believe once we get to the table, the brackets flag sets, I believe we turn that off.
That sounds right.
And at the top of the tower, we have D-Lunars.
This is going to be annoying, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. You have Kane with the White Spear, you just keep jumping him and dealing piles of damage.
Right. If you were relying on more traditional fighters who could basically only use the fight command, this would be annoying. But you've got Canes who can jump, you've got Rosas who can aim in a pinch. You've got Quake. This should be... Your party is set up in such a way that this is not going to be too much of a problem.
Yeah, in worst case, you can always do Reflect shenanigans. Since, for whatever reason, when the D-Lunars use their breath attack, they temporarily lose the boss bit, and you can turn them into frogs.
That's always fun to see.
And that was a discovery made during one of our previous leagues by the community, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was something that I don't think people had discovered until then. We're always finding new things out about this game.
Also pointing out that discovery was made during Threemus Zone 1.
Ah, memories.
Yeah, I remember being out of town for orientation for a job and finding YouTube videos about this game during Threemus Zone 1, and I was immediately hooked.
Zilch is through with that battle, finds another spear for his troubles. But more importantly, that's the third objective. That's the crystal. And yeah, normally we would say, oh, hey, that's go mode, but we're still missing a way to get to Threemus.
So, do you go to the Feymarch first? Do you do Sheila 1, or do you go to Baron? Those are our available checks right now.
If it were me, I would go down to Feymarch first, also check the bosses there. Maybe if I get lucky, there's a free boss there, which I can do another check on.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me.
And yeah, if that doesn't pay off, then you absolutely do Sheila 1 before doing the Baron castle. It looks like that's what Zilch is opting to do, going through the cave here to get to Feymarch.
Yeah, it's some more shopping. It is up to 3 boss checks. Or, pardon me, up to 3 key item checks.
we'll soon see what the free chest has down here. Oh, there's your darkness crystal. That's go mode.
Yeah, go mode at 53:45 roughly.
We get some Cure 3s down here as well as some mute bells.
Warlock grind, maybe?
That's on the table. Now that you have the Dark Crystals of the past, you have access to a good number of grinds up on the moon.
I found a curse ring in a shop. This is a very generous seed.
Aegis has found their sirens. I think they picked up about 20 of them, and is going to go ahead and take out the bosses here. I have not been keeping tabs on their Palom. I hope that, I don't know, they have Rydia, don't they? So they are well past warp levels.
Yes, Rydia learns warp relatively early.
That is one of the benefits of keeping Rydia around in this seed set, since you can warp glitch your way into the sealed cave from here. It's definitely increases her utility.
And Palom being set up as the agility anchor over on Zilch's screen, getting that cursed ring. Probably not going to see many spells coming out of him except to nerf Big Bangs.
I think that's just good. At least it's going to be just for the duration of this fight. I don't know. Correct me, because that is a virus on Palom to knock him out so that he doesn't get any experience here.
Yeah, so I think we're looking at a Palom anchor.
That's that makes a lot of sense. I think Zilch just wants to get enough levels on his guy so that he's going to be able to survive a Big Bang, and then it's probably going to go straight up the moon.
Yeah, it's curious to see the Kane in slot 5 there in the back row. I assume at some point that he and Rosa will trade places, because I don't think we've seen a Dwarf Axe yet, have we?
I don't remember seeing one. That's the only item that Kane can equip in order to get that back row glitch active. And Aegis is through with the first guards fight, and they're going to dismiss their 4th Rydia and take on the evil wall next. And that Dragoon Spear on Kane does either double or quadruple damage. I can't remember against these eggs, so that
I believe it is 4 times damage.
Yes, so that's going to get through this grind even quicker than normal.
Yeah, these Dragoon Spears are as good as coffins against these eggs. And quite a bit faster because you don't have that animation to worry about.
So if you're in Zilch's shoes here, how high do you want to get your characters up to?
Well, Zilch is a lot better at this game than I am. It could pull off some low-level shenanigans. I think I get Rose to Cure 4 and like 2100 hit points and then go.
I'll be interested to see what he does with Edward here, because Edward's HP growth is not as strong as the other characters in the party here. So, it might just be a case where Eddie just does a few attacks with the spoon and then just takes a nap for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, similar to how Tella fills a role in a lot of these seeds, where he provides some initial utility and then falls over eventually due to Big Bang.
I think that was life 2 on Rosa. So she's up to Cure 4 at least at this point then.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Zilch head up to the moon pretty quickly.
Aegis is through with their fight against the evil wall, gets the white shirt, and will most likely be following Zilch into the lower battle in order to get that 3rd item taken care of, or 3rd objective taken care of. Meanwhile, on Zilch's side, we've got both Kanes up to about 2300 here. And Rose is about to hit 1900, 2000. That's about the time where I'm feeling pretty good about going to defeat Zeromus. Meanwhile, Aegis is opting to do a bit of their grind as well at this point, taking those coffins out to also deal with these eggs very quickly and get that large amount of experience onto their characters.
And that'll make the Lunar Dragons definitely a little bit easier.
Zilch is moving his inventory around. I think this might signify that he's ready to go.
Yeah, putting that karate shirt on Edward, give him just a little bit more strength.
Aegis is opting to head down Sylph Cave first this way, to talk to Yang down here and get the Sheila 1 check active.
Unfortunately, we already know that is not the right way to go.
I mean, theoretically, it could hold the Legend Sword, which would be another way to go mode.
Yeah, but then we'd still have to either go down to the Fey March to get our Darkness Crystal, or hope that we can find the pass somewhere.
True. And at just about the stroke of 1 hour, Zilch is raising the whale and getting ready to walk his way to Zeromus. As Aegis does a little more shopping and Zilch raises the whale, I just wanted to mention that we have another full day of free enterprise Threemus zone races for your viewing pleasure tomorrow.
That's right. Our first race tomorrow is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the primary free enterprise channel between Pizza and Frankie Bones. Then at 6 o'clock Eastern, we've got Korek and Professor Corey. Then Randomania Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got Rumblefish and Mecha. And then rounding out the night at 10 p.m. Eastern on RPG Limit Break, we have Silverfire and Bacon Pie.
Should be another great day of free enterprise. I've really been enjoying this event so far. We still have another week plus of group stage races before we get into the Hook and Magma group races.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the Restream team's ability to just put on this many shows.
I don't think we talked about this yet, but in this group stage, if you go 3-0, defeating all 3 people with your group, you get to immediately bypass the Hook and Magma groups and go straight to the round of 32, what we're calling the table stage.
Yep. And then if you finish your 3 matches with 2 wins, you go to the Magma Key group, where we're going to draw most of our table group of the people who don't just go 3-0. And then if you have 0 or 1 wins, you find yourself in the Hook group, where you're going to be fighting tooth and nail to claim one of the 2 available slots.
So even if you go 0-3 in this group stage, you're not out of it. You can come back and perform strong in that Hook group and still make it into the final 32.
And if you make it in through the Hook group, you're going to be the underdog everyone's cheering for.
Absolutely. Oh, interesting. I did not notice that Aegis had skipped the Fabul check here, but now coming back with so many levels, Yang has no hope of going back home.
As was pointed out when Zilch did this, Yang was just off to the convenience store to pick up some milk.
And we'll head on over to the other tower, and Aegis will check the first Sheila check. While Zilch winds his way through the subterrane on his way to Zeromus.
Possibly doing a gold dragon or 2 just to pad out the levels a little bit more.
Zilch did not find 10 key items, so this check with the light flip will only give you about 90,000 experience points. I say only, that's going to be more than enough for his purposes.
Yeah, that's more than you can get from most encounters in the game, so nothing to sneeze at.
Aegis parking outside the tower. We'll go ahead and climb it and hit their third objective. And it looks like that one last grind fight is good enough for Zilch. He's heading off to the save room to drop one last save before heading off to Threemus.
Yeah, and new to Free Enterprise as a 4.1, you don't get the save point message anymore, so people have been adjusting to that, realizing that you can't just count on the text box to pop up and say, oh, you're good to go now.
For the first couple of weeks after 4.1 was released, I kept overshooting save points like you wouldn't believe.
And Zilch setting battle speed down to 2 just to give a little bit more safety, I suppose.
When you change your battle speed, you got a little more leeway in terms of entering in your actions before the opponent's move. So that's a nice safety strategy there. If you choose to go down to battle speed 3.
Right, and Zilch did not find that Avenger, did he?
No, he didn't. I think that came out of the Staleman chest that he skipped. So that's going to be a little bit less speed that he could have beat Threemus with, though. But I don't think he'll be a problem for him.
Yeah, because I think he has a good supply of Bacchus.
So as we do our walk to Threemus, I think there's usually a question that we ask at about this time in the seed. Since we can't randomize the location of Threemus, we instead randomize his appearance, don't we?
That's right. So, with seconds to spare, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Get your Z flags out in chat. Alum throws out the crystal. And Zeros' true form is going to be Meltanimus.
Yeah, this is a new Pokemon that was introduced about a year or so ago through the Pokemon Go mobile game.
I do not play Pokemon Go, so I'm glad you're here to let me know about that.
Yeah, I stopped playing it a while ago, in part because not being able to leave the house makes it a little bit harder to play, but... Oh, and Scarlett's telling us a story. Apparently she made this sprite by hand. And, that checks out, because I don't think there has been a 2D representation of this character yet.
Shout out to Charlotte in chat, who does so much for the community and does all these sprites for us, and really has done a great job with everything.
Yeah, 400 plus Threemus sprites last time I checked.
I think it's up to about 450 at this point. Actually, it's quite a lot of work.
Meanwhile, Aegis completes the D-Lunus fight and has their crystal and is good to go once they find that darkness crystal.
Hopefully they'll be going down to the Fame Arch next. I think that's the easiest check available for them right now, so it would make a lot of sense if they were to go down there now.
And, chat pointing out that apparently we had Meltan in the game before and the official Pokemon material did. That's kind of cool.
That is impressive. I continue to be impressed. Zilch nerfing Meltanimus' first big bang there, and keeping Edward up with 120 hit points there. That's very good, because Edward is doing some pretty decent damage with Berserk and that spoon. Aegis looks to indeed be going down to Feymarch next to get their Darkness Crystal, meaning that it's just a question of how they want to grind in order to finish the seed.
And we saw Aegis stocking up on Sirens, didn't we? So could very easily do an egg grind like Zilch did.
I think that would make the most sense. I don't know if they got too many hourglasses left, so they might not choose to do like the the King Ryu grind on the moon, for example.
Yeah, and you really need Berserk to make the King Ryu grind efficient, in my opinion.
Although with those that Dragoon Sphere, I believe that would do a good number on them as well.
Oh, for sure. And Aegis not even checking the bosses of the Feymarch, which makes total sense, but unfortunately going to miss out on that cursed ring.
Zilch choosing to reflect some slows onto Zeromus there. I don't think we ever found a Silk Web to slow Z down, so this is a good way of dropping the speed of the fight to a point where you can get a lot more damage done. Although Zilch is opting to use that crystal as an item in order to nerf the Big Bang. However, Kane does eat a lot of damage on that nuke.
As long as Rosa gets a turn before the Big Bang goes off, he'll be fine. I just had to say it though, didn't I?
Commentator's curse. Commentator's curse. I think the more important thing is Zilch wants to make sure that Eddie stays up. You can life too using Rosa, so as long as we don't get too much damage out and Eddie stays up as much as possible, that's good. And we do have rocks falling onto Zilch's side, so very close.
GG's ready, because I think we've got enough hit points.
Even though only Zane is doing the damage at this point, I think Z is down to maybe about 10,000 hit points when he starts throwing out the rocks, somewhere in that range, 10,000, 16,000 or so.
Tier 4 is a full heal, so I think this is in the bag.
It should be very much so. And there is that flash. We do have GG to Zilch on winning this first group stage in the Bahamut group at a final time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 1 second. We'll see if Zilch wants to come in for an interview. Meanwhile, Aegis has made it up to the moon. I don't think they cracked any more eggs when they were down on the ground, so it looks like whatever they are planning to do for a grind is probably going to have to take place up here on the moon.
Yeah, it's either going to be Warlocks or Gold Dragons. Although I don't think there's a whole lot of Hourglasses in inventory, right?
Like I said, I don't know if they purchased a lot when they went through the Evelyn Cave, so it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do.
And we are joined by Zilch. GG, congrats on your first win.
Thank you.
So when
Feels
you
good to get the first one out of the way.
oh, absolutely, get that under your belt, and you're good to go. When you first saw those objectives, how'd you feel?
I love free objectives, so I was very happy. I was like, one thing I was hoping was that there was no hook involved, but wasn't meant to be.
Yeah,
But
well, I guess Dathus was feeling kind, but not too kind.
Yeah, takes over an hour with free objectives. Never feels good.
You're forgiven, Dathus. You gave us a great seed, but not a perfect seed.
Yeah, I mean, I did ask for free objectives, and he did deliver, so I can't complain about that.
I know you've done a lot of work on low-level strats. Do you think those would possibly come into play tonight when you saw those objectives?
I was hoping, but then when I found sirens and I had canes with dragoon spears for days, it's just not faster than like a grind that you can do that fast, even without tanky items. And I mean, it didn't hurt that I had Eddie with a spoon there to dish out high damage too. But
yeah, Spoonword's been pretty good, even if the best equipment you can give him is the power shirt.
There was a power shirt. Mine had a karate shirt, but whatever.
Yeah, I think you just found a power shirt. I don't remember exactly where, but I think it was out there.
Yeah, one thing I kind of regret is I usually loot a lot more early, and I don't know, I guess race nerves or whatever. I was like, all right, well, I didn't find any trap tests in the first section I checked in Eblin. I'm just going to continue on now and not loot the rest of it. And then I was money short for a lot of the seed, and I didn't have much good gear until the treasury, which was a great treasury, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was a very solid treasury.
I don't know, maybe not 10 out of 10, but it's close.
Chat
especially for the party we had.
To be about 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it was one dragoon spear, stardust rod. I think there might have been a moon veil that I never used. It was good.
There was a ninja shirt and 2 Murasame, so an edge would have been very well kitted out.
I'm sure there's no edge in the seed then.
We did not find one. But let's be quiet for a moment because we've got some music coming on. Link to the Past is always welcome here. Great classic game, great randomizer. Yeah.
How did you feel about the character choices of the seed? It seemed like the seed was insistent on giving you the same character over and over again.
My main disappointment was not finding the Eddie till after all the other overworld checks. Because when you have a spoon that early, you kind of just want to get an Eddie so you can just go crazy and everything. But I had pretty much cleared most of the overworld by the time I got him. So I was kind of disappointed about that. But aside from that, I think 2 canes with, well, I guess I was using dancing daggers for a good part of the seed, but I figured eventually I would find a good weapon for Kane. So happy with that. Happy we got the Rosa in there for healing to make things easy. And yeah, I guess Rydias and Palams, sure.
Yeah, we had black mages for days.
Don't think I really used them for too much. Would have liked Atella, because who doesn't like Atella? But
yeah, Atella's really grown on me since this event started.
Yeah, would have been nice to have another source of Zerk. Not sure if Bacchus wines were in the Moon Shop or anywhere, but I guess I never found them. But
no, they weren't in the Moon Shop either. I just checked a couple minutes ago. I think I only found illusions.
Would have been nice, but had Rosa slowly Zerk up everyone.
Yeah, there was an Avenger Sword in Eblin Cave in the Stoneman Trap Chest, though.
Yeah, Staleman, I don't see myself doing. Just not enough experience. So
that's totally fair.
Absolutely, it's you don't normally find something as good as an Avenger there.
Yeah, probably would have been a Crystal Sword, which would have made me just bait on picking up a Cecil again, and then there's just complicated dilemmas at that point. And
that's right. You started with a Cecil, and there was a Cecil in the Waterway. Were you ever tempted to bring those two along?
I was going to keep my main Cecil with me for a little bit. And then if I found like a Crystal Sword somewhere or even an Excal, I probably would have went and got the second Cecil to anchor. But I didn't find one before I got... Well, I guess once I found Eddie, I figured I didn't really need Cecil at that point, and I stopped caring. Yeah, go with the spoon. Believe in the spoon.
Spoon is love.
If the seed gives you a spoon early, then absolutely.
Worst case, you can always go to Eddie strats if you have him with you. So, you know. It's sad I didn't get to do my low-level strats, but it just wasn't the right play.
Yeah, and you played very well tonight.
Yeah, dancing daggers for days.
Yeah, definitely a strong start with that.
Take what the seed gives you, I suppose.
Yep.
Any
Everyone
other,
can use a dancing dagger, so here, you all get one.
Any other thoughts about the seed or the tournament as a whole?
Tournament's great. I love that there's almost like something to watch at most hours of the day, which is great. The competition is really up there. So, you know, there's no free matches. Aegis keeps joking about how I'm going to destroy him and all this, but, you know, he's putting up a good fight. Anyone can win. It's a randomizer, and he's been doing really good too. So,
yeah, and
it's
meanwhile,
always exciting.
Aegis,
And that goes for everyone.
Yeah, Aegis is currently on their way down to Threemus right now, so maybe we'll see a close finish.
And then taking a peek in chat. See, Aegis isn't the only one. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Props to all the Restream team people. You guys are doing great. Streaming commentary has all been like amazing. So it's making it even better to watch. And even just jumping in voice channels to chat with people about the ongoing races has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so
the community
excited
is really
to see
high.
how this goes.
Yeah, the community has been very, very great. Thank you very much for all your support, and you know, look forward to seeing how well you do in the future.
Thank you. And I don't think there was a lot of vanilla in this seed, but I don't really remember.
There wasn't a ton of
so
vanilla.
Doubtless,
There was a lot
I
of
don't know what you're
jazz.
doing. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
GG.
Have a good night, Zilch.
Thank you.
And yes, congratulations once again goes out to Zilch. Winner of this race goes to a record of 1-0. Well on his way to potentially getting straight to the table. Meanwhile, we do see on Aegis' side that they are just about to start that Threemus fight. Now, one thing I'm not sure about here, I haven't been paying attention to how they've been leveling up, but is what agility that Kane in the center of their party is at.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Kane has pretty good agility growth, so this could be risky.
I mean, if it is 28 or somehow 42, then you know that will make this fight a lot easier. But if not, then, you know, if it's just below that, we could see a very fast Threemus here.
Yeah, I think at these levels, 42 is more likely than 28.
It does throw out that slow directly in order to nerf the Big Bang upcoming and gets a nuke for her troubles.
Oh no.
Yeah, with that speed between that Big Bang, this is not looking very good.
Yeah, this could be dicey, but hopefully Aegis will be able to stabilize and carry on this fight.
I do see that they're using that Avenger glitch in order to move around that white spear. Pixel, can you explain to our viewers who might not know what that Avenger does?
Sure, so the Avenger is a sword that does a bunch of neat things, the most interesting of which for this discussion is it sets your character to Berserk regardless of whatever other equipment they might have on. And your equipment stats don't change until you performed an action. So you effectively get the benefits of Berserk while maintaining the equipment stats you had on previously. So then, once you've taken that white spear off of the first cane, it is freed up to be used by the second cane. Well, it's also still sort of semi-equipped to the first one because you're still getting the stats from it.
Here comes that unnerved Big Bang, which is going to take out the Rydia and the Palom. And a quick Bat Black Hole as well to remove Well, actually, I don't believe he actually cast any Berserk, so that black hole is going to do anything to the Avenger Cane.
That's right. Avenger cannot be dispelled by Black Hole. You are always berserked as long as you have that item equipped. This fight could be doable. It's going to be rough, but Rosa might be able to survive depending on how she's geared out.
That, yes, I mean, it all depends on how much magical resist that Rosa has, although if we get to the virus phase, oh, all bets are off.
I need to stop talking because I'm mistrusting Aegis left and right.
Yeah, this shows the danger of going into his Ramos fight without that agility managed correctly. It can just move so fast.
We see some agility tuning coming in. Oh yeah, that Kane was agility 33. That's not a great spot to be at for a Zeromus. You want to be as close to a multiple of 28 as possible without as close to a multiple of 14 as possible without going under, if memory serves.
It's usually, I think it's either as low as possible or at 28 or at 42 or going up from there.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I usually focus on 28 or as low as possible.
Those are usually the easiest ones to find. So Aegis is going to take a second shot at their fight, moving the Palom into the middle there. I know the Palom is a lot slower, so hopefully that will be the right alchemy in order to get this fight going more their way.
Hopefully. I think that Palom was at a 22 agility.
It does show the value of that cursed ring that unfortunately that Aegis did not find. You might look at that cursed ring as a regular player. Oh, this gives you minus 15 to all my stats. Why would you ever want that? Well, it's for cases like this, when you want to find an agility as low as possible for one of your characters in order to speed up the rest of your characters. And that's where that curse ring really comes to its own.
Right, because there's a limit on just how fast a given actor in a combat can be. I believe it's capped at 5 times your anchor character, right?
That's correct, yes. Well, we do have that Kane moving first, which makes me think that this might still be a little bit of a dicey proposition in order to get this timing correct. We shall soon see.
Yeah, agility is one of the dark and mystical sorceries of this game.
A lot of menuing on Rydia trying to find the right spell, chooses Virus, which will do some damage as well as nerf the oncoming Big Bang. Unfortunately, the Rosa eats that Luke, and oh, good, just enough damage to stay alive there. I don't know what equipment Rosa has on, but whatever it has must have a lot of magic defense because she's been taking some very heavy hits during this fight. Well, she's not going to survive this one, I can tell you that much.
No, Nuke is not capable of rolling that low, unfortunately.
And that is a little bit of bad luck for Aegis because that Zeromus is really intent on getting Rosa down.
Which is the right tactical decision, so Board AI is doing its job.
Although you have a perfectly good Palom there, not doing much, or Rydia just pointing out a couple thousand for the virus, so you'd prefer to, just choosing Rosa again, why don't you?
We are being terrible to Aegis.
I'm so sorry. There we go, we do get that Avenger out on Kane. So hopefully we're getting some good damage out on that side.
Oh no, that Big Bang didn't nerf properly. And there's another reset.
And I think Aegis is going to opt to grind a little bit more, get some more levels. You know, it's entirely possible to defeat Zilch just on pure power. I forget about trying to get this timing correct. So this looks to be the option that they're taking.
Well, Aegis is grinding. Let's go over tomorrow's races again. Starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Free Enterprise channel, we've got Pizza and Frankie Bones. Then at 6 again on Free Enterprise, we've got Korek and Professor Corey. 8 o'clock Eastern over on Randomania, we've got Rumblefish versus Mecha. And then finally, RPG Limit Break at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got Silverfire and Bacon Pie.
There's some really good races on that one. We try to watch as many as I can.
Yeah, the community has grown so much, and there's so much great new talent coming in. I kind of wish I didn't have to work tomorrow, so I could just focus on watching some good races.
See, I'm lucky since I can just put it on in the background when I work. It's really nice.
Yeah, I could do that. I just worry I'd get too distracted.
And you're talking about the community growing. I was impressed by how many people signed up for this tournament. I think we have somewhere near 120 players.
We had 29 groups, and groups are 4 players, so yeah, about 120 people. We had a couple dropouts, and then we have Invenerable, who has a bye from his amazing placement in the Blue Gauntlet earlier this year. He won the whole thing, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And Invenerable has been sitting atop his throne, hanging out in chat, occasionally helping out with restreams and tracking and all that good stuff. Probably getting him quite a bit of practice for table as well.
And that is true, except for a few other people who have completed their races and are 3-0 and know they have a route right to the table. He's been one of the few people who can just focus right on those flag sets, which are a little bit harder than these group stage flag sets. And Aegis still has 13 Sirens. They can go as much as they want with these fights in order to get their levels up as high as they need. And just seeing the amount of damage that Dragoon Spear is putting out, you see just how much having that item just speeds up this grind.
Yeah, those type bonuses are very effective. 4 times bonus for elemental weaknesses, 4 times bonus for monster type weaknesses. I don't remember if those add together or multiply together, but if you can stack them, they deal a lot of damage really quickly.
I mean, at that point, I don't think it matters if it's multiplied or added. It's going down. And you see, both their canes are getting close to 3,000 hit points. Rose is up to 2,300. This just might be the power overwhelming strategy at this point. And that appears to be enough for Aegis. It looks like they're going to be going ahead and give this fight one more try.
Yeah, and Rosa definitely has enough hit points to survive Big Bang, so as long as she can get turns and we don't curse her again, hopefully this will go pretty smoothly.
So let's try as commentators to be only wish nice things on Aegis this time. Let's try to talk about what could go wrong, because that seems to always happen.
Yeah, or maybe we should talk about the great things Roma should do, and then he'll do the opposite.
So I think Roma should put out a picnic spread and just all have like a little party.
Picnic sounds real nice.
Yeah, why do we have to fight after all? You know, just you know, put on a nice cheese plate.
Yeah, cheese would go great with the Bacchus that Aegis has.
And there you go. So Roma should give everyone Puppy Scala. That's absolutely correct.
I think Scala might have just gotten the idea for Threemus.
Aegis is once again going with Palom as the anchor here. I think with that extra levels, that should make this a little bit better. Charcuterie-mus. I love that as an idea. Kane throwing out a wall to bounce spells off of. With any luck, Z will choose to target Kane with that nuke. Okay, he targeted Kane, but not the right one.
We have
I
Kane,
tried.
but what about second Kane?
I tried, okay? I tried to get, you know, I point the nuke the right way. Z just misheard me. And with Palom now knowing nuke and can bounce that spell off, I mean, that will speed up this fight considerably, doing 9,000 damage there.
Yeah, part of me wonders almost if we're just going to see some reflect strats here, but there goes the Avenger on the White Spear Kane.
Flex Fast would have been an interesting choice to make, because you certainly do, if you can get the, as long as you can keep Palom up, he can put out enough damage himself to get that done, so. But it does look like we're going to be doing a bit of a hybrid strategy here, which is absolutely a good play.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the hybrid strat, it gets things done.
And once again, we see that white spear getting shared around.
Yeah, Palom's gonna keep pumping out heavy damage as long as Aegis can keep them alive.
And we have Rydia acting as the chemist here, throwing out the Cure 3s. Takes her a little bit longer to get to nuke level, so that's probably a very good use of her time.
Yeah, I believe it's level 55 for Rydia to learn nuke as opposed to 52 for Palom.
It's well to the 50s, I know that much. I usually just grind until I see it when I have to deal with a Rydia needing nuke.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
And yeah, with nuke putting out 10,000 damage a go, it's going to go a lot quicker. Yes, 55 going to Daphnis in chat. Thank you very much. And we've also got white on Rosa, opting to fire that out instead of focusing purely on healing.
That's the last spell we're going to see before that black hole goes off and strips away the reflect. Maybe a chance for our party to heal up before we start applying Star Veils again.
And I do believe this Z fight has been going a lot better, because it does appear that Z has slowed down considerably since the last couple times that Aegis tried. So I think they got the agility manipulation spot on this time.
Yeah, this is looking really good.
Ready with those Cure 3s. They're expensive, but when it comes to the Z fight, they are so worth it.
And what are you going to use your Gil for after you've defeated Zeromus anyway?
Exactly. You can't take it with you. Although with the King going down, unfortunately, with that wall, would make things a little bit difficult, but I think we got the Cure 4 coming out. We can reestablish ourselves pretty quickly.
Oh, and we're going to gamble on Asura. Maybe get a life off or just top the party's hit points.
And let's see what Asura does for us.
That is life face, I believe.
That is life. That is almost certainly not what we wanted. Well, Z is using Nuke unprovoked, which means we are well into the second phase. So he has done his HP refill.
And I think as long as we can maintain our hit points, we've got this fight in the bag.
He's just going to go for the direct Nuke cast here. Don't want to wait around for the Star Veil, which of course will trigger a counter Nuke. Right to Radio, which is probably exactly where they wanted it to go. I don't think Z shook this phase, so I don't think that would have nerfed the next Big Bang we see. But we're not going to see any Big Bangs anymore because we see rocks.
Rocks falls, Zeromus dies, hopefully.
As we said before, I think that means that he's down to about 16,000 hit points at most, so this will hopefully go down very quickly. And there is the flash. GG's to Aegis, getting through that seed. Very good job.
Yeah, powering through some struggles and getting the job done, and that's what matters, right?
Absolutely. Obviously things didn't work out exactly as they might have wanted.
Hello?
Hello, we are joined with Aegis for the interview here at the end. How, GG's?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh yeah, perfect. I just
great.
wanted to make sure.
Great. GG, how did that seed feel for you?
So that was kind of painful for me in particular. I'm gonna lay it out for you. So, like, going into this match, I knew that if we had a particularly fast seed, it's way more likely that I'd lose to the master of the specially named zilch6. So that was always a concern of mine, and I kind of, where the seed was going, even though we had an early piece of the forge, and where I was looting, I found an early power shirt and a light sword. It's like, keep Cecil. And a fast seed like this one, I'm like, well, okay, so what can I do to, like, get the speed going faster? And that's to ditch the anchor, right? So I went against like everything that I've ever known. It's like I always play Cecil, so that kind of hurt.
Yeah, the struggle there was real. Cecil is definitely a character that requires a lot more finesse than we're used to requiring in this particular flag set.
But the flip side of that is that I'm used to his agility on the vanilla either way. So there's not a whole lot of difference between like him and like a mage in the center slot when he's not there compared to like Kane or a faster person. So there's a lot of difference there. So I think that kind of played into why I wiped a few times. I had an unfamiliar faster person than expected at Threemus the first time, I think, and I'm trying to deal with the fact that there was no Bacchus. I'm trying to do the Avenger setup on the Kane that has the white spear, so I can give both Kanes the holy ability, and that kind of resulted in and then the lack of any silk webs. I don't know if I'll watch the VOD, but I don't know if Zilch was able to find a silk web, but I couldn't find them anywhere, and I think I shopped everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think we saw any silk webs this seed.
Yeah. So like there was no way to slow him down, and I was always counting on the two black mages taking a wipe at some point, but I needed to keep Rosa alive, and then like the first 3 times I fought him, it was just like a really bad hit to Rosa, and she's got like white armor, a protect ring, and a wizard hat on, and it's like that's a really bad roll considering. So, but I mean by that point it was already over.
Yeah, but you played outside your comfort zone. You got the victory over Threemus in the end, and I'm sure every time I play Free Enterprise, I learn some things that'll make me better, and I'm sure that applies to you as well.
Yeah, and this was like the rare seed where you go down and you try to do the pan checks. You go down and and then you come up, and if you have an early Earth Crystal, you kind of do that right away. This was the seed where neither of those played in your favor, so that's the way that shook out. I'm perfectly fine with that because more often than not, you're rewarded for that play.
No, absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. How did you feel about the seed in terms of the characters that it gave you? Because it did seem like it gave you a lot of the same character over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, I made the decision to get rid of Cecil, but I'm looking for an edge because we had so many good ninja weapons. I was fine with Kane when he came. I was grateful that it wasn't like a Sid or a Yang that I was stuck with. And I kept Rydia because I was looking to do the warp in the dwarf castle, but being an objective and all. But once we found that it was a hook seed, I'm like, well, I could drop her, but there was nobody to replace her with. I mean, did we see another Palom? Maybe, but by then it was too late, I think.
Yeah, I think there might have been one other somewhere, but yeah, like I said, by then it would have been a lot, too difficult to get them back up.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I do want to point out that I do think you made a very good choice in terms of your grind doing the King Ryu fights on the moon, because you had that Dragoon Spear and you had the hourglasses to go very quickly for you.
Well, and that's the other thing. My grind wasn't gonna be that originally. I'm like, okay, it's a really fast seed. I don't know when the pass or the darkness crystal is gonna show up. I'll do the eggs, and I'm like, oh, I got a Dragoon Spear. I mean, it's just as good on the eggs as it is on the Ryu. You can basically start the eggs without any kind of level requirement. And then I got the coffins, and then the hourglasses as well. But I'm like, okay, well, yeah, let me keep doing this. And then I'm like, wait, how many key items do I have? So I kind of grinded. I used the one siren that we got as an item. And was planning on coming back when we had close to the key item requirements. But I'm like, wait, I only have like 6. So that kind of also informed my decision to like go to the top of the tower right away, go do the Sheila check, do the Earth check, try to get closer to the 10 so that when I got the crystal I was good to do my grind. But wasn't expecting the darkness crystal where it was. And that kind of was like, oh, well, now I gotta hold off on the grind I was gonna do and then go do the Ryus. So the thing with the Ryu grind is I don't know when to stop. I mean, Cure 4 for Rosa is a good idea, but she doesn't necessarily have the HP to live, as we've seen clearly, at just Cure 4. So that's kind of something I also have to work on.
It's always a balancing act between how comfortable do I feel going to Threemus and how much time do I want to spend on the grind.
And then, like, finally, after you saw so many wipes, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get everybody above level. We're just going to do this, and, you know.
Yeah, the perfectly valid strategy.
Not my original plan, but, you know, again, by that point, it was already it was already resolved, so.
No, I think you did a great job of rolling with the punches as it was, and congratulations for finishing the seed, and good luck in the future races you have.
Thank you. Where was the Avenger at, by the way? Because I forgot I had that, and then, like, the end of the game, I'm like, oh, I don't need all the Bacchuses I would have needed originally. But
it's fun.
A good part of the game. Yeah, a good part of the game, I was just sitting with it, I think. I should have probably put that on earlier, but
Yeah, you took that chest while Zilch didn't take that chest, so you had a little bit of an edge on that and that.
No, that was strictly for levels. Didn't see any sirens yet, so.
Any other comments you want to make about that seed?
No, I think that was actually pretty good considering. I mean, just the things I've mentioned. You know, like you said, it's you're gonna always run into something that you haven't really dealt with before. So just try to get better for next time.
Yeah, it was great watching you and seeing the differences in playstyle between you and Zilch. He took the Ed, you didn't, and that was the biggest thing. But you know, you both got it done. That's the important thing. Did you have fun?
Oh yeah, I definitely had fun. Listen, thank you. You know, thanks to Dathis for rolling that seed. It was pretty fun. Alice Heel for tracking, and you guys for commenting. Thanks.
You're welcome, and thanks for an excellent race.
No problem. Looking forward to the next batch.
Absolutely. So Pixel, I think that's going to do it for us. Any last comments tonight?
Just that this was a really good race, and I was happy to be here, happy to calm, and I think I learned a thing or two about the game while we were at it.
And just want to echo Aegis there. Thanks again to Dathis now still behind the scenes for helping put this all together. And we're going to go ahead and raid Indoor Wa, who I believe is a fellow Bahamut group member doing some practicing.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for watching, giving us your support, and we'll see you at the next race.